you're listening to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gav. Joining me today is Dave.
Alright.
Stephen.
Yeah.
And Stuart.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Great. Okay.
How are you?
I'm good, yeah. We're back to Zoom because of everything that's sort of going on. I was watching Nicola's briefing today, this looks like there's going to be an announcement at some point this week it looks like we're going back into lockdown, guys, doesn't it?
It's not looking healthy, mate, no.
No. We'll have to wait and see. But we're going to talk about more positive stuff, like a great result yesterday and things like that. So let's just get on with it today. So, let's start with the Rangers game. Dave, overall, great point?
Aye, really good point. I'm quite happy with that performance as well. So,
Stephen?
Much better performance, I chucked it.
Cool. Stuart, quickly, overall, good point?
Yeah, good. It was great to see the team battle. We've never done that for years. So, yeah, good.
So, the pleasing thing I thought was that Jack Ross and Porteous spoke after the game about their frustrations with conceding 2 goals, about giving away the fact that they had the lead and they gave it away, and how they wanted to win the game. I think that mentality is what I expect to see from a Hibs side. They're at home, they expect to be winning. They don't expect to be conceded 2 goals. And but like I say, so when the team came out, I'm not gonna lie, when I see it, I thought, oh no, we're going to play the same team as we did against St Mirren and expect to be able to get the same result. Looking at it, Stephen, when you seen the team, did you think we were going 4-4-2 with just Wright coming in for Murphy?
Aye and no. Like, there was obviously the possibility, and we've been playing 3-5-2, so I think obviously with the midfield that we've got, there's more flexibility. It was the bench I was worried about. I said to you before the game, I looked at the bench and I was like, fuck. I was like, how's anybody on that bench got to come on and improve the team? But no, it was, I would say I thought maybe 3-5-2 just based on previous.
And Jay Wright, obviously we've seen him play as a second striker or sort of striker. We've seen him play as a wing back. We've seen him play as a winger. Now we've seen him, Dave, play as a central midfield. Obviously we're going to come into his goal and stuff. But how do you feel he done with the game?
I think he done overall. He done no bad. I know he got his goal, but I thought he done no bad. He put his cell about a wee bit, which I quite liked.
Mm-hmm. So before we get to the goal, we scored in the 22nd minute. Stuart, what was your kind of evaluation of the first 20 minutes before we got the goal?
Well, we did okay. We were doing well against them. Of course, Rangers are a strong side. It's difficult, but we're trying. You know what I was saying on the chat. You get a wee bit disgruntled with what's going on, the way you play and whatever. But Rangers are a very good side, especially in the midfield. So we did well. You were asking about Dre Wright. It was difficult. You were at the game, Gav. It was difficult for us being watching it on TV because it's we're following the ball. We don't see what's going on with other players. But yeah, we did all right the first 20 minutes. As I say, Rangers are a good side, so you're really good to contain them. Mm. So yeah, we did all right.
The thing that impressed me, and again, I can understand maybe not sort of seeing it so much on TV, was how well drilled and how well the team seemed to know how to punish Rangers. It seemed to be that Doidge was doing a lot of work to drag the centre backs apart to kind of create space for Nisbet, which we've seen McGinn play a ball to Nisbet and he won a corner from twice actually. So that kind of worked. But also there was a couple of times where Doig made a run down the left hand side. Unfortunately, wasn't picked out. Remember one instance in particular where Newell kind of had the ball and he was kind of had somebody on his back, and if he could just get a bit of space and ping it out, Doig was in because Tavernier was bombing forward, and it was the same with Berisic bombing forward. We looked with Boyle and Doig to be really exploiting them, punishing them sort of going forward too much. And it's fair to say we done that with the first goal. Hanlon launched the ball towards the 18-yard line. Nisbet won the header and flicked it onto the right. Boyle picked it up, a bit of dancing against Berisic and got some space, drilled it in low, and Dre Wright smashed it in 8 yards out. Stephen, your thoughts on the goal?
It was well worked. I think most of the credit has to go to Boyle for it. He done all the hard work, and I think if anybody had got on the end of that ball, it was going in the back of the net. obviously looked a bit better because it went through McLaughlin's legs, like, but yeah, no, I thought it was well worked, and I think now that Wright's got his first goal as well, he can kick on for that. So.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, Nisbet, couple of chances himself, but really great work heading on. Dave, Nisbet looks to be a real great addition to the squad.
Yeah, he was getting stuck in yesterday as well, but it was a good flick on. So it just kind of shows that the commentators were going on about how he likes a snapshot and he's got an eye for goal and that, but he can do the other stuff too. Like that flick onto Boyle created that goal essentially because it was just a hopeful ball for Hanlon. He wasn't going to be able to do anything else with it. So
I don't know. I think he's seen Nisbet and picked him out. But if you want to say it was a hopeful ball, then
yeah. But what's Nisbet, mate? Obviously, apart from exactly what he done with it, like there's no really much.
Get some space and flick it on.
It worked. It did work. It was a well worked goal. But Barisic should have probably had Boyle. To be fair, Boyle's first touch was heavy.
The thing is, guys, Nisbet, the hard work that he was doing with regards defending from, and we always say that a defence has got to come from the attackers right away. And that time, I thought he got injured too. I was worried he went over his ankle. He ran about 30 yards and blocked a tackle for a throw-in. So he's no shy doing, the hard work, rather than a centre forward that just plays on, the back two, the back four anyway. So he's no scared to do all the hard work, which is pleasing. I thought the lad did really well.
Yeah, there was two in particular. It was like that's a tackle, like two tackles in particular. I was thinking that's a tackle that a centre back would be pleased of. A tackle that Gogic would have been pleased with, and great to see that tracking back. I think Deutsch done it as well at one point. I can remember him sort of finding himself sort of standing beside Gogic after he'd sort of helped close somebody down and stuff. So great to see that effort from both strikers and the whole team sort of playing their part. So like I say, we're going to kind of get back to the performance in a second, but we'll have to talk about a non-footballer's performance, and that's the referee. So. I mean, for example, Dre Wright was cutting across the middle of the park, got into the centre circle, and he was brought down by Tav, sort of tactical foul in order to stop Dre Wright getting the ball up the park, and no booking. And I'm like, okay, maybe the ref doesn't want to be banding yellow cards. And before the first half was up, Paul Hanlon and Ryan Porteous would find themselves in the book. So let's start with the Ryan Porteous one. Dave, should it have been a red card or even a yellow?
No, it was probably, you could argue whether it was meant or no. But I personally think it was meant. So I probably would say a yellow card would suffice. Morelos kind of kicked it a wee bit as well, though, to be fair, and he got away with it. So
got a habit of that. Got sent off against Aberdeen for doing that.
Yeah, I'd have said probably a booking each, or even just a telling off each, like what he's doing, something stupid would have been enough. But definitely, there's not even a conversation for a red card.
Thing is, though, Dave, if I'm glad it was a yellow because it could have ruined the game. But when you watch it from that different camera angle, it was a wee bit cheeky, Bill. And I like that with my centre halves. Didn't get me wrong, I've played centre forward all my days, and when a centre half does that to you, you're worried about him before the ball. And you're starting thinking about the guy who's defending you rather than you thinking about the ball. So Porteous has done brilliant. However, if that was our centre forward, I think we'd maybe been saying that's a bit shan that, what he done. So one pundit was chatting away and they were saying the game's way, it's away now, because that would never have been spoken 10 years ago.
I think, Stephen, there was one of those ones where Porteous is maybe trying to get away with it, hoping doesn't get caught by the referee or linesman. Just kind of one of those ones to kind of, it's just sort of like a kind of barge into him to kind of let Morelos know that he's there and he's in for a fight.
Yeah, I'd say that. I think he was right. Like, it was a coming together. I think, like Dave says, he meant like to leave something on him, and he did. But I think that early in the game, I think if that was a red card, then there would have been questions asked.
Like I say, I think they've hit the nail on the head. It would have been a talking to between the two of them would have been perfect, but potentially a booking each, especially when Morelos kicking out.
Yeah.
But then Hanlon found himself in the book. I've only sort of seen it back on Twitter. It wasn't on the highlights I sort of watched. Dave, what was he booked for?
To be fair, he did smash Hadji in the face a wee bit, but it was accidental. So again, I'd say a booking. There wasn't no malicious intent. Boyd saying that he flicked his arm up on purpose. I watched it on Rangers TV yesterday.
What were he saying?
Well, it was fucking Sky, but it felt like Rangers TV at one point. I was like, what is this? But he was like, he meant it, and it was just ridiculous. One of the most ridiculous conversations I've ever watched.
See, I think Porteous was more of a man, going into him rather than what Hanlon did. Because I didn't think Hanlon done anything. Hanlon was just standing his ground. He was just turning his body, and putting himself in between the ball.
He's went to shield, and Hadji's hit his elbow. Hadji should be off for heading his elbow.
That's right. He ran into
it. So Hanlon gets booked for accidentally elbowing Hadji in the face. Should Morelos have been booked as well then, Stephen, for accidentally elbowing Boyle in the face in the second half?
Yeah, aye, but you expect that from Morelos. I think it's just one of these things. It's Rangers go top of the league if they get a point. So
yeah. Let's say, I hope it was just a case of the referee missed it, but it's a bit frustrating that Hanlon got booked for that and Morelos faced no action. But at the same time, you're facing Rangers. What do you expect? And there was a lot of things as well from the ref. Like I remember Doyle's done really well, and he'd sort of dispossessed one of the defenders out in the left wing, and he was ready to sort of charging in towards goal, and he gave the ref gave a free kick, and I'm like, that's no, to me it looked nothing like a free kick. There was just little instances like that. The ref was a bit off. But getting back to the game then, so we're getting towards the end of the first half, 1-0 up. The ball comes out to Davis, and he slips it down to Kent, who plays it. He gets to the byline and whips across. Hadley goes for the ball, and McGinn, seeing Porteous isn't competing in there for him, goes for the ball as well, leaving Morelos in space, who picks up the ball at the back post and smashes it in. Dave, Morelos getting too much space in the box.
Yeah, he shouldn't be standing in his cell at the back post. It shouldn't have been. When McGinn attacks that, Boyle's got to see that earlier and get in there. You've just got to have danger. Like, you can't let Morelos take the piss out of him. He's a decent player.
But Stuart, should McGinn be leaving his man if he's not going to win the ball? He has to be surely has to be 100% sure he's going to win the ball if he's going to leave somebody like Morelos unmarked.
To be fair, that was McGinn's only fault in the game. The only thing he done wrong.
Performance, yeah.
Great. He got pulled in. He thought he was going to win the header, and he misjudged it. But as Dave says, Rui Boiler should have tucked in that wee, a yard, and he would have been goal side. He wasn't goal side in Morelos. So, yeah, McGinn. There was two of them at fault, McGinn and Boyle. For me, anyway, in my opinion, because I think that Boyle is the man that's looking at the player. McGinn left his player, and he never seen him behind. Mm-hmm. So, in my opinion, the two of them, but Boyle should have had that. Boyle got caught flat on his feet. He was ball watching, and I think that was the problem.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's from that. I think McGinn, he shouldn't be leaving out somebody like Morelos unmarked unless he's definitely going to win that.
No way.
A keeper shouldn't be coming for to punch it or to catch it unless they're definitely going to get it. So that should have been the same again. Stephen, I'm taking sort of green tinted glasses off. Was 1-1 a fair reflection at half time?
Yeah, I would say so. Can't really argue with it. Stupid goal to let in, but happens. It's Rangers. It was a bad time to concede. I think that was probably the biggest thing. But yeah, we took I think the first 25 minutes we went at it, and then after we got the goal, slightly stood back a bit, let them on us, and they just took advantage. But
Sure, you alluded to this earlier. You and me sort of were speaking about this in the group chat sort of during the match. I mean, I think that to me the game plan was to sort of invite some pressure on and get a bit and allow the, like say, Tav and Berisic to come forward to then exploit that space behind. But and you were sort of saying you felt we were too deep and the Rangers were there to be taken at. So was that a case of just sort of going too deep the second half?
Yeah,
Second half?
you know, well, we're having different opinions on the group chat, but you know, everybody's got their own opinion, Gav. But I still think when Rangers were doing well, we were sitting too deep, and they always say the best way defence is attack, and when you allow especially the Old Firm, when you allow the Old Firm, especially at home, to play, you know, you're just inviting trouble, and it showed. You know, the gaffer made the change too late. You'll probably talk about that anyway. But at the time, we were sitting too deep, far too deep, allowing them. Okay, our defence is doing well. We were, you know, how many passes they had? Christ, they had 60 odd passes or something, or 30 odd passes within our box, and they only scored twice. However, Rocky had some fantastic saves. We were quite lucky in a couple of things. But when you sit deep, you're inviting trouble. And that's what I was going nuts. Now, that's the first game we've probably watched it when we've all been sober. Apart from you guys, because you're at the game. But the boys, we've all been sitting in the bar and we've been watching the games. So I was trying to take everything in, and I was getting so frustrated that we were sitting deep. Get out, and then let them try and play around us in midfield rather than on this 18-yard box. It's like a game of five-a-sides, and they've got the players that can do it. With Hadji and Arfield and Kent. That's the problem.
Well, Ryan Porteous sort of agreed you to post-match. He sort of felt the second half they were sitting too deep and should have been getting a bit further up the pitch and sort of paid for that. And to be fair, I mean, it was a great goal from Rangers, some lovely one-touch passes, and Hadji and Arfield really sort of connecting well, and Arfield putting it past Marciano. Dave, I'm going to ask you to be, I know you hate Rangers, but I'm asking you to be as non-biased as possible. Take your Chris Boyd hat off and try and analyse the goal. Is that one you go, that's really good football, fair play, or do you want to see better from your defence?
Well, we conceded a goal, so I would quite like to see better, because I would rather not accept. I'd rather we were like, right, what can we do next time in that position, rather than go, if that ever happens again, then it's going to be another goal, because we can't defend against that. So it's got to be analysed and looked through, but it was a good goal. It's the way Hadji, and they go analyse this the game as well, it's the way Hadji just first time passes it back to Arfield, kind of takes Porteous at the game.
Yeah.
That was the problem, and fair play, good goal, but it just was too much at that time. They were putting us under pressure, and then it was going to tell sooner or later.
And like I say, and then after that, we made some changes. Jack Ross sort of spoke about this after the match, saying about how he was sort of thinking about the changes. He sort of kicked himself that he didn't make them sooner, because he was thinking about making them before Rangers scored. But obviously Rangers 2-1 up, we make the changes. But before we sort of get onto the changes, from looking at half time, Stephen, I seen there was a lot of criticism of Doig, or I say some, not a lot, some criticism on sort of Twitter and stuff of Doig at half time. Do you think that was fair?
I don't think so. No, it's a young boy playing against Rangers. You look at it's exactly what happened with Mackie. It's a big occasion for them. They get a bit excited. Like, he never done much. I thought he'd done all right in the first 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Never done enough to warrant getting slaughtered for it. But it's a learning curve. He'll come on against Celtic next week, and then he'll go again.
And it seemed to be a tactical change to kind of put Lewy on for Doig, maybe some fresh legs, and also the fact that we're changing to the back four. Definitely, Lewy's sort of probably a bit more comfortable in the back four. Gogic right and Newell in the middle, and then Doig up top with Nisbet on the left and Boyle on the right. But even then, that front three was very fluid. Dave, how great is it to say that we've got a manager that's able to see things in the game and change them to a positive effect.
Yeah, that's good, and I like that. I liked his honesty that he was like, I should have done that earlier. He said that he didn't need to come out and say that in the presser, so it's good that he can admit it. And I thought it was quite good that Stevenson came on and was putting the ball forward in that as well. It wasn't like the Lewis Stevenson of old, so maybe he's took that on board and something he's worked on. But I thought Stevenson played really well when he came on. I'm really happy with him.
He's got a point to prove. He's out the team, so that's maybe the best thing. It's maybe something he's really been missing in this game. Somebody sort of challenged him. But I mean, Stuart, it's great having a manager that can, see these changes and want to make them, but he's got to have the team to do it. It's great that the players are both flexible in terms of the formations they can play, but they also seem to be well drilled in terms of what they're doing on the training pitch, in terms of changing formation throughout games and changing tactics.
Yeah, I think he's got them play well, and you can see that in these the players that he's buying. They can all play at least two positions.
Yeah,
because they've seen, with Nisbet, they pulled him out to the left, and so he's we said it earlier. He can track back, so he can defend. He can go and play wide left or wide right, and then you've got the midfield centre backs. They're all playing different positions and helping each other out. So it's nice to see. And I was really happy with Lewy coming on. I really was. And I think actually he just stopped all the traffic going up the right hand side, because Doig was getting caught a wee bit. And as Stephen says, he's learning, the laddie. And, he'll come good. But it was nice to see Lou coming on and Dave saying that, he found a lot of nice passes, So it was good. Nice to see.
And we got our equaliser through that Doidge guy, Christian Doidge with the goal. I mean, that's just what he's best at. I mean, two really good centre backs, Stephen, but he powers up above them and sort of powers in that header.
Yeah, I don't think there's many people that will beat him in there, and I think a lot of the talk in the first half was the fact that he's won the most aerial duels in the Premiership so far this season.
Right.
So I think based on that, like with Nisbet beside him, you've got a boy that can take it into feet and run at the defence, and then obviously you've got Doidge that can take it out of the air, put it in the net with a header and everything. So. No, I think we've got that balance that we've been missing for a few years now. And obviously I was critical of both of them when they first joined the club, but no, they really proved me wrong. So.
And Martin Boyle with 2 assists yesterday. Dave, this is why we were getting really excited about Martin Boyle signing a new contract.
Yeah, key moments in the game, he done key things. They said he only had 6 passes in the whole match, and 2 of them were assists.
Wow.
That's mental, eh? That's what they said the guy after it. So
that's 6 key passes. It can't be 6 passes in the game.
Yeah, it must be more than 6 passes in the game. That doesn't seem right.
Well, who knows? I was going to say it was on Sky, so it must be right, but who knows?
Well, you could have done your research beforehand, but I know you had a bad time at work, so I'll let you off for that one.
Exactly. Just can't expect everyone from the Gav. Came in and straight away turned this on, so
appreciate it. So yeah, we were sort of seeing out the game. I mean, I think it's fair to say that the wingers sort of dropped a bit deeper. I mean, I seen a great thing on I understand sort of what Stuart's saying about how we really should be going at the Rangers, but then at the end of the day, Ryan Kent costs more than our whole team combined. That they are a good team at the end of the day. So, and I think, but even then we sort of limited their chances. But the best chance that they did have, pulled out a fantastic double save from Rocky. Stuart, your thoughts on the save?
I've watched it. I don't know how many times. I keep on rewinding and watching it. It's the second one. Unbelievable, because Arfield must be. He'll be seeing that over and over and over, because he just needed to. He did everything right. Arfield, he never done a thing wrong. And how he saved it, I don't know. Absolutely brilliant. And I'm pleased for him and his missus. I just, honestly, it was brilliant. And it's nice to see, because over the years, Hibs have had good keepers, but we've had some lousy ones.
Mm.
And I think because Rocky just gets on with life and he doesn't, there's nothing flashy about him. He seems to just get on with his job. Plays on a Saturday or any day it is, and then goes away home, and that's it. You never hear from him, and he's really one of the best keepers we've had for a long time. And I just hope that he signs an extension whenever.
Yeah, he's been speaking as well. I'm sorry, I knew something to say. There's one as well where I can't remember who had the shot. It might have been Davis, and he sort of put out a hand and sort of saved it. And it wasn't sort of like he sort of tipped it away. He put out a hand, and the ball just sort of went the same direction that his arm was, because it's that sort of strong a save.
Yeah,
it was brilliant. It's sort of one that stuck out as well.
It was Ryan.
Was that?
It was Ryan Kent.
Ryan Kent. Nice. Cheers, Dave. But he spoke in the sort of post-match, sort of after the Motherwell game and after the Aberdeen game, about how he used lockdown to sort of change his diet, start eating a lot better, exercising differently and stuff, and how he's in the best shape of his life and stuff. Stephen, is this the best form we've seen him in since he came to Hibs?
100%. No, he's just got more confidence. I think I think he's turned his mindset now at the fact that there was a lot of talk at the start and middle of last season about him looking for a move and playing for a move down England or abroad, and he seems more focused at Hibs now. He's got back into international fold. He's playing well. Probably the best keeper in the league now to me. I've always rated him higher than Joe Lewis, and I think he's proven it this season. So. And
Dave, like I say, I mean, Stuart and Stephen have sort of already hinted at it, but the sooner we saw a new contract, the better. Eh?
Yeah, I get it done.
Yeah, he's fantastic. So, hopefully that's that. Let's say another thing like Martin Boyle. Hopefully we see that now soon. So. Porteous after the game went to shake hands, and Gerrard and Tav refused, and all them sort of refused. You know, why were they so annoyed?
Bad losers, exactly. Porteous.
Aye. Yeah, so apparently sort of Porteous referred to them as bad losers, and Gerrard after the game spoke about this and wanted to point out the fact that he got sent off in their win at Easter Road earlier in the year. I would also like to point out that Gerrard is someone that never lets emotions get the better of him, although he does hold the fastest red card for getting sent off in a defeat to Manchester United. He came on and was sent off in 38 seconds. That record still stands, Steve.
He also cost them the Premier League.
Aye, slippy.
Gerrard's a dick.
Aye. I used to like him years ago, but I just don't like his attitude. But do you not think that comes with Rangers though? He's moulded into that Rangers horrible.
I don't know what it is.
Aye.
Get your Liverpool glasses off. He was always a dick.
To be fair to Stuart, though, I did say the same about Arfield. As soon as he went to Rangers, he became the biggest arsehole I know.
Aye. And Steve, I didn't understand it because Arfield's Celtic mad. Don't understand it, but they go to Rangers and that happens. I don't know what they've got over through there. I don't know what they do.
So, speaking of Steven Gerrard at Liverpool, we would have majorly watched Steven Gerrard playing for Liverpool on Sky Sports. So that leads us nicely into talk about the Sky Sports coverage. I've seen a lot of people moaning about this. Obviously, I've not seen it, but I have sort of seen some Sky Sports coverage this season. So I do have a couple of notes on it. But Dave, you referred to it earlier on as Rangers TV.
100%. It was only missing Tom, the commentator.
So what makes you say it was like Rangers TV?
Boyd is so biased, it's unbelievable. He's not got the ability to talk about Rangers. Like, he talks about Rangers really passionately, but it comes across as defensive. He can't praise Hibs. All the pre-match content, as far as I'm led to believe, because I actually only turned it on 10 minutes before it because I felt a wee bit weird. Because I felt like I had Derby nerves, but it was very Rangers orientated. Half time Rangers, full time Rangers. Didn't even show Hibs' possible penalty claim. Defoe went up with an elbow on Martin Boyle at the end. That wasn't even debated. Nothing was spoke about. And obviously they had McCoy still. Like Stuart said, they had nobody representing Hibs.
Well, I did have a note here. Walker did play 8 games for Hibs.
Absolute belly of a man. So.
But Gav, Andy Walker was at Hibs and he was looking for a contract and he didn't get it. And he went in the cream puff, and that's why he hates Hibs, because he got told that we don't need you, you're not good enough, or whatever it was. There's bad feeling with Hibs and him. And that's why he is as bad as he is on the TV. And what Dave was saying there about Boyd, he couldn't even say Rocky that had a good save, a double save with Arfield. It was Arfield missed a glorious chance. Mm. He never even says, Rocky, what a save.
Boyd was getting that animated at one point that he was trying to speak and he couldn't even get his sentence out because he was that rattled.
Oh, aye.
Like I say, so with the exception of Andy Walker, no real Hibs connection there in terms of the pundits and stuff. And I mean, you look at the pundits overall, Boyd, McCoist, Walker, McFadden's the other one who obviously played down in Scotland, down in England, and done well for Scotland. Darren Fletcher, who has never played up in Scotland. Stephen, is the coverage aimed at Old Firm fans and English viewers that might think about tuning in?
Yeah, 100% it is. It's aimed at the folk that'll bring the viewers. They need to get the coverage of Scottish football in England, and because of the pandemic and everything that's going on, people are going to be trying to rope in as many folk as they want. Because how long was the contract with Sky? 3 years, 5 years?
I've no idea. I've never checked.
Something like that. So obviously they're going to need to try and get their viewer numbers up, and everybody's in the mood for watching football. But what an embarrassment Scottish football has been on Sky.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the annoying thing as well. Say, going to the press conferences and stuff. If Sky have got a game, they'll have exclusive interviews, so they don't have to come in with the rest of the people. They do an exclusive one. I know they've done a sit down with Ron Gordon as well, which was really good. So it's good that they do it when they've got TV games. But if they don't, they just don't have anything for the press conferences. But Sky have a representative at all Premier League 20 Premier League press conferences, regardless of whether it's on TV or not. So it's just a bit frustrating that they don't sort of give the same coverage for Scottish football, and it's a bit bye. Obviously, like Stephen said, BT Sport were doing a decent job as well before, but obviously they don't have the contract anymore. But what you should have been doing was watching Hibs TV, because you could have had David Tanner, who was a great host that Sky should have let go, and who was doing a cracking job with John Collins. So there's your Hibs pundit right there. And on that on Hibs TV, they've done a brilliant piece which the socials have now sort of put out. I don't know if you've seen it yet. It's about just a few minutes on Lewis Stevenson. He starts talking about, obviously, it's 15 years today since he made his debut against Ayr United. And they spoke to him. He speaks about his debut. He speaks about not being able to remember it that much. His man of the match appearance in the League Cup final, the Scottish Cup win, mentoring Josh now, and speaks about the future as well. So, Stephen, what's your sort of memories as League Cup final performance?
The fact he played centre mid.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot more confident, but at the same time, he's a different player now. He's that period when we had all the players come through, Brown and all that. Brown was a lot more attacking back then. Look at him now. Stevenson's changed position. He's went back and he's a lot more reserved. I think he's a lot more mature as a footballer. He's chosen his path. I think he could have done a lot more if he stayed in the middle and the centre midfield. But at the same time, if he was a central midfielder, would we still have him?
Yeah, potentially. I think he sort of spoke about the fact that after that League Cup final performance, man of the match and stuff, a lot of people expected him to go be another sort of Kevin Thompson, get a move to either Old Firm or down south or something like that. But I'm glad he's been here the whole time. And I mean, Davey played a massive part in the Scottish Cup, didn't he?
Yeah, he's been huge for Hibs over the years, absolutely massive. And I honestly feel like the way he came on and played the other day, that hopefully he's not done, and that he uses exactly what you said. He uses his Doig, that competition that he's no had as might push him on and might drag another year or two at him, like to still be able to play for Hibs.
Yeah, and Stuart, how beneficial will it be to Josh to have him there? You know, he spoke about speaking to Josh about the wingers in the league, the ones that he knows, giving him tips about, you know, and obviously he's a much more mature head that's sort of been through that journey. How beneficial will it be to Josh to have him there?
100% that Doig will love him being there. And actually, I think it'll be the other way as well. That Stevenson, as Dave said, has now got somebody to fight for his position, keep him on his toes, because it must be difficult to play 400 odd games, and I can't remember him having anyone up against him at left back since then.
Well,
even
Takujabi.
Oh,
he lost his place to Ryan McGivern as well.
But when you do think about it, he's been playing there, and he got moulded into a left back.
Did make his debut at left back as well, though. It is a position he had played.
But as Dave said, he played midfield, and now I think he got moulded into this left back role, left wing back. But with regards Stevenson, I think he'll be playing a lot of games, because I says to you, can't remember what pod it was, maybe 2 or 3 back. I said Doig is good, but he can't play the whole season because he's a young boy. You'll tire him out, and I still think that's when Stevenson will come in and fill that void and play well.
Well, on that, he sort of said, whatever happens from now, I'm delighted with what I've done in football, but I still think I could give a bit more. I mean, obviously, Stuart, you sort of gave your opinion that you still feel he'll have a big part to play Hibs this season. I mean, Stephen, could we potentially see him, maybe not this season, or maybe even not until January or something, but could we potentially see him leave either on loan or even permanently to kind of play some football before he retires?
I can't see it. I think that he's made his mark as a Hibs legend. Like he's a one club man. He's won both the cups. He's the only Hibs player to ever do so. I think that he's got too much of a legacy at Hibs to leave. I think if you look at Gerrard with Liverpool, he went to LA Galaxy before he finished. Never really done much, and then obviously he's come back. Now he's at Rangers when he could have just stayed at Liverpool in the coaching role. But I think if you look at Stevenson, his mind is Hibs now. I think Hibs will offer him deal after deal in terms of coaching roles after he's finished playing. But like Stuart says, I think he's got a lot to offer still. And with Jack Ross being so fluid in his tactical changes and being able to change the formation at a drop of a hat, Stevenson will still have a big part to play over the next few years. Yeah. You look at our back line for the cup final, and Stevenson, I reckon, out of Gray, McGregor, Stevenson and Hanlon. Hanlon's obviously got a couple of years on Stevenson, but I think Stevenson will be the one that's longer term.
Wow. But we'll have to see what kind of comes with the future. But in terms of the past, a fantastic 15 years. So thank you for the 15 years, Lewy. And here's looking forward to the 500th appearance, which will surely come. Somebody could do the maths. It'll probably be towards if he sort of keeps on coming off the bench, probably be early next year. But here's looking forward to the 500th appearance from Lewy. So we're going to finish up today with a quick game of start, bench, sell. Stuart, I know you've not played this yet, but I'm sure you've been listening to the podcast. It's pretty simple. We choose 3 players, we talk about them in their prime at Hibs, and we say which one would start, which one would bench, and which one would sell. So I thought I'd go for the attacking midfielder position this week. So who are you starting? But some people might think this is a bit of an easy one. I might be wrong. So we're going to go for Russell Latapy, Scott Allan, and Allan and Zemamma.
Jeez. Am I first?
Just talk away. I mean, we could talk through it. So I mean, starting with Latapy. Stuart, what's your favourite memories of Russell Latapy?
Oh, has to be number 6.
Fantastic performance and one of the best goals at Easter Road.
Oh, yeah. and I always say that it was Mixu's wee chip that put him in there. That he played that wee one too, and that game, everything came through Russell Latapy, and I always remember him going out uptown, and he used to go with, what was his pal, the cricketer. They used to go up the town and drink and smoke, and he ran riot. Russell Latapy was one of the best midfielders we had. I know Pat Stanton played midfield as well, but for flair, Latapy must be up there, number one.
Yeah.
So I would play him.
And obviously Scott Allan's another one of the players. Dave, I mean, obviously the news sort of coming out this week that an undeclared health reason, which we're not going to go into too much because that's sort of his thing. Jack Ross was, I thought it was quite well. They spoke about it's a private matter, it's a health thing. That's for Scott Allan to come forward and say what's involved. So, but obviously, hopefully, best wishes to Scott, and he's hoping it's all right. But I mean, his first spell, he was fantastic in the championship, and that second spell, that 6 months in that Lennon team, he was, Stuart said about how everything went through him. Everything went through him and McGinn in that Lennon team for that 6 months.
Yeah, he's been absolutely brilliant for Hibs in the couple of spells that we've had, and every time, when he's left, the couple of times he has left, we've been dying to get him back. And I'm no different for the now. Like, I still want Scott Allan in that Hibs team as soon as possible. As soon as he is feeling good, I want him in there, because I think he's the type of footballer I want to watch. He's entertaining and can do something that no a lot of other players can do, and that's what I want to do. I want to entertain.
Yeah, and finally, sort of Zemamma, Stephen. I mean, obviously the mind sort of goes to that the celebrations after the 5-1 win in the League Cup final. Him and Benji with the pheasants and stuff, and just like he was such a fantastic, exciting player to watch when he got in the ball.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, he done well after it as well. He went down to Middlesbrough, played really, really well. Went down when Mowbray went there. But no, he's one of these players that comes along every so often, and he tried his heart out for Hibs. Like, he was probably one of our most exciting players since Latapy at the time. I would say came on, done a lot on that wing. And I mean, it was in a good squad with a lot of attacking players. Obviously, had Sproul and that when he first came. Actually, did he?
Yeah.
Sproul was still kicking about. So he had competition and he was in the team. And I think when Benji came in as well, the pair of them linked up brilliant for us. But yeah, definitely one of our best players round about that time.
I sold Zemamma socks. In the old Reebok shop, he came up to the till, and I was like, "Oh!" And then all I wanted was a packet of socks.
What size of feet? 3.
I remember the only size of feet I can ever remember a player buying. It was that Danny Carmichael, and he bought a size 7 pair of women's trainers. Had them trying them on, but to be fair, they were nice trainers. I would wear them too, but he's got these. By Zemamma bought socks.
Well, Taylor Zemamma's hat, his wee fez hat. He got that at the cup final.
Oh, nice.
So because the photos he was going about with, when somebody must have handed them out of the crowd, because everybody was buying them. Everybody was going about the bloody Hampden with a face hat on. And he was getting all his photographs with the him and what's his name, and he came over and he was all shaking hands with us, and he gave Taylor the hat. So that'll be in somewhere in his bedroom. Anyway.
That's pretty cool.
But
so memorabilia I have.
So who do we bench?
Oh, you bet.
So yeah, who are you benching and who are you selling? It's a tough one this week. I mean, my first sort of mind goes to the order that they're in, but are you guys different from that at all?
Yeah.
Dave, what about yourself? Oh, Stephen, you're different. What are you going for? What's order you're going for?
Well, start Latapy, bench Zemamma, sell Scott Allan. Because it's a middle of a pandemic, and we know that we'll get Scott Allan back in a couple of seasons.
Dave, what? Yeah, I mean, Scott Allan has been like a boomerang for us. He's always came back. But I don't want to throw the boomerang away just in case he doesn't come back again.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely holding on to that boomerang. Base hands. He can sit on the bench until he's better. Start Latapy, and then sell Zemamma.
With a heavy heart, definitely. Stuart, what's the order you're going in?
It's difficult. Latapy has to start.
Yeah.
And the guy I was talking about was Brian Lara, who was a top cricketer in the world, and that's who used to come to Edinburgh because of him, and watch him play, and I used to go on a bender. So anyway, I'd play Latapy. It's difficult. I think I would bench Zemamma and sell Allan. Sorry, Scotty boy.
Nah, I don't think he'd be too downhearted. Zemamma was a great player. And he's
buy him back. Can we buy him back?
We wouldn't even buy him back. He'd just come back.
All right.
Like I say, I'm going with Dave. I'm not risking it. I'm not risking losing him again in case he didn't come back in. So I'm holding on to Scott Allan, but he's having to sit on the bench because he's not getting ahead of Latapy in the team. Unfortunately, Zell's Zemamma, like I say, with a heavy heart. So we'll finish up there, folks. Obviously, it's the Monday podcast. We're going to come back with a shorter podcast later in the week, previewing the Celtic game, and if any other sort of news comes up, hopefully, because the transfer window's open, we've got a signing to react to. I doubt it, but that would be nice. So hopefully, talking about a new signing and Celtic game, but probably just the Celtic game. That'll be out Thursday or Friday. And unfortunately, we lost the end of the Zoom audio, so I wasn't able to say bye to the guys and that, and I was chatting to them about what they were up to tonight. I think they were all watching the Wolves Man City game. But thanks to the guys for coming on. Thanks for listening and making it to the end of the podcast. As I just sort of said, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, all that nonsense. Enjoy the rest of your week, folks. As I said, we'll be back with another podcast later in the week.